live again. You will notice I am no longer down at the beach. I know. Wah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that last video. If you do not have a beach near you, please do go check out my latest live video. I was just at the beach this morning. It's where I live. Normally I am landlocked, so it was very nice to see the beach and stuff. Sorry guys, I just took off all my makeup and everything, so you know, which I advise wearing something, you know, for sun protection, right? Let's just go ahead and get in to the message here. See what is going on. I've had some very interesting messages since I've been traveling. Normally that happens. Some of them very profound and moving, okay? Talking to a lady down by the pier, and she did say, because some of my friends that travel with me have special needs issues and things like that, and so when I was going down at the beaches, like that Gloria Avenue that I showed you guys, like we were able to walk on that, and then I had some shrimp this afternoon for lunch, and there was a little walkway. Like if you were using a walker or a cane or a wheelchair or anything like that, you would probably pretty easily at least be able to get into the sand. But down by the pier, they don't really have that. But what the woman did tell me is that you can call the county and like the day before and reserve like a specific beach wheelchair. So it must be specially made for, the sand application. Anyway, I thought that was really interesting. So any of you that are in that kind of situation, FYI, right? There were also some JWs down at the beach, and which I said hello, you know what I mean? It's just kind of funny. And here I am giving a spirituality reading. And, I know a lot of people don't like the Jehovah's Witnesses and stuff, but, are they hurting anybody? No. Right? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot worse things you could be doing out there than trying to give somebody a positive message, okay? Hello in the chat. So, ooh, King of Wands. Happy weekend. Who's feeling good? Who's looking good? That is Aries, Leo, and who is my other fire sign? Sagittarius, duh. Collective, there might be a King of Wands in your energy, somebody that wants to flirt with you. Maybe you are this King of Wands. Usually they are kind of the flirtatious type. Ooh, the FBI's on my channel. Dot, dot. Is it Morse code they're putting in there? Can anybody decipher what the Federal Bureau of Investigation dotted? Did anyone out there learn Morse code? I remember learning about it, but I never had it like memorized, like for the SOS stuff. It's like 3 long and 3 short or something like that. 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, so somebody might feel like they are in need of help at this time. I feel like for some of you, it could be this King of Wands. And if that's the case, I would steer clear. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like somebody is envious. And yeah, it's like they want to reach out or something, but what I'm getting from you guys is that you might actually have blocked this person, like in a big way. Whether that you did a cord cutting ritual, you prayed about it, maybe you meditated about it, got married to somebody else, all those types of things. Yeah, it's like if that's what this person is wanting, I think for a lot of you in that situation. Okay, so obviously this is more than one storyline. So if you are this King of Wands feeling this, you know, flirtatious, lighthearted, masculine energy, like obviously this is not part of your message, right? Yeah, okay. This person could also be like missing you, sad you're gone. But the thing is, collective, like the figures on this card here, it's like they're comforting each other. You know, they're giving each other shelter from the storm that was created by this King of Wands. And it's like they're not looking back. Like nobody wants to go back and do that again. Nobody. Not a single one, right? So I feel like moving forward in this, so I feel like a lot of you, so this is in the center position right now. So I feel like for a lot of you, this could be a great time of growth. Okay, so it might be specific to your spirituality, your purpose. A lot of people connect purpose and spirituality. Some people do not. You know, that's optional. You should play Fallout 76. I don't know what that is. Anyway. Somebody said they're on my mom's phone. Don't be leaving any nasty comments in the chat on your mom's phone, y'all. She'll get her Google account all messed up and she won't be happy. Okay, so for some of you, you could have even been like raised in a single parent type you know, situation, whatever it is, and it's just you don't want to repeat that past. It's just that is something that has been tossed out. Okay, that's why when this first came out to me, this was more like a lighthearted energy. Okay, so for some of you, this might be the time when when you remember these things that you went through, instead of getting triggered, right, you start to feel the strength of what you went through, right? You're not gonna say God is best. Why though? Well, Tin Can Sniper 007, if you would like to make a channel on YouTube saying why you think your way is best, please go and do so. Otherwise, this might not be the channel for you. Okay? You know, higher power, you know, I sometimes, you know, it just, and yeah. So as I was saying, instead of being triggered, and maybe it's somebody who's like, you have to go to my church, or we're not, you know, I mean, there's people that get excommunicated. Jehovah's Witnesses famously kind of, you know, can shun people in their community. I think Amish also shun people, right? If they're not following their script, right? So any of this that has triggered you, collective, I think that is now in the past, is the energy that I'm feeling right now, okay, for a lot of you. Obviously, some of you still do get triggered by these things. Okay, stained glass windows also may be very important to somebody, or significant here, I'm getting. Okay. So, you know, definitely a, you know, mother and child, you know, Madonna figure like that. You know, so for some of you, you know, the story could have been that you were romanced by somebody and it didn't turn out, right? And instead of seeing that person every time being like, oh, I hate so-and-so, or I'm going to get their money, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do, you know what I mean? Or like, I hope they blah, 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 blah. Right? Which I don't recommend any of that, but I understand sometimes it's like we need a place to put our anger, a place to put our pain, and, you know, speaking on it in that way can help people get to where they need to be, right? And so that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like now you have seen what you've been able to accomplish for yourself, right? Without that person, without those people, you know, This could also have been a leader of a specific community for some of you. So, you know, maybe, Pastor so and so or priest so and so, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, you're not supposed to be doing that. So, collective, you speaking up was okay. Um, Often we feel forced to turn a blind eye. But what you're now turning a blind eye to is the triggers. Okay. Um, Maybe you're somebody that lost a bunch of weight, right? Haven't we all gone through a weight loss journey at some point in our life? I don't care how, trust me. Trust me. I mean, I used to be in athletics year round. Okay. That changes when you go to college, if you're not in athletic programs. Okay. Just saying. You're not always going to be the same, right? So you have to take what you've learned and build upon it, right? So, say you gain weight and then you try to lose it, blah, blah. Maybe you had a kid, then you gain more weight, and then somebody's like, oh, you're fat. You don't look like you used to. You're just, you know what I mean? Somebody that just knew how to push that button. But the thing is now, that button doesn't exist. It's more like, so I'm here in this tourist town and they got these little plaques up everywhere, right? It's like this plaque that says, here in this day in history, such and such and such and such happened, right? Okay. And you're the one on the victorious side. All right. So for some of you, that may be due to your faith. All right. That could be also just somebody's looking out for you. Okay. So, yeah, because we all know who thinks they're looking out, right? You could have Capricorn in your chart as well. Pisces, Hangman. Pisces season, I think, has officially about ended, and now we have had our first day of spring. So, looking forward, then what are the little things? And I do believe these are little things. I'm not saying they weren't big things at one time. I'm not saying it wasn't traumatic at one time. I'm not saying he didn't pay this or she didn't do that and they didn't know that. I'm not saying none of that happened. Right? But what if you haven't cut that cord and move forward, leap into spring, right? Take those dreams of Pisces here, okay? There is something like really big astrological too. I think like Neptune leaving, like there was something like it was in Pisces for like 13 years or something. Anyway, yeah, check that out if that is of interest to you astrologically. Okay. But I do believe that's part of this message here. It's like, okay, all right. Mm-hmm. And like on any of these little digs or whatever, you're like, okay, you know what? I'll take it with a grain of salt. And you know what? Maybe I haven't been eating the healthiest. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, snip. Done, right? It's like you don't even care where the message is coming from. You're just like, what do I need to do that's going to be best moving forward, right? And best in a positive vibrational way. Okay. And that doesn't mean we ignore our feelings or anything like that. I'm just saying that doesn't mean, it just means we're not dwelling in them. Okay. Especially in this spring season, it's like, winter was the time, right? Cry it all out, get all your Netflix and chills in, right? And now it's like, oh, it's a new day, right? Okay. That's what those JWs are out there. Oh, have you heard the good news? Right? You can say, well, and here's the thing. Because then people want to say, well, this happened to me, therefore I can't. Well, another way to look at it is this happened to you, therefore you've had troubles, you've had issues, you've had concerns with doing X, Y, and Z. All right. So remember when I said you may have blocked that person? So now, since you've done that, it's like now those other opportunities are awaiting you. Okay, because you're believing in yourself. Did you just hear that? Ding ding. Clang, clang, clang went the trolley. You know that one? Ring, ring, ring went the bell. Something to my heartstrings. Da, 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 da. Judy Garland. One of the Gum sisters. You know, I wonder if they were related to those Wrigleys, like, you know. Page of Pentacles. Okay. So for some of you, this might be giving you something to think about. All right. Especially if this person has not been kind to you in the past, you know, right. Instead of saying, they did this, they did that, guess what? We're just going to deal with that person anymore. It happened, right? We've gotten to it, right? And now we're moving forward. Doesn't mean any of this didn't happen. It sure did, right? It sure did. And that's why for a lot of you, you went through these struggles. That's why for a lot of you, you had to block this person, or maybe you needed to get away from a certain work environment. One time when I was getting a really regular massage because I was working a desk job, and it was very, you know, like this kind of I started going to this one massage therapist, and she had actually changed from an IT career to a massage therapist. And I was like, whoa, that's a change. She's like, yeah. You know, because sometimes, yes, things are stressful. Collective, I'm also getting the lion imagery here. And so this is very interesting because the lions are on this card here, and there's a bridge in town literally called the Bridge of Lions. Some of you could be like, yeah, I know that King of Wands was a lioness, so yeah, you know. Like, I get it. Like, we're not here painting pictures, right, of things that didn't happen, right? We're speaking honestly on it. But like I said, moving forward with this lighthearted energy and attitude, okay? Because you cannot change the path. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what the therapy says, blah, blah, blah. Can you heal? Yes. But nobody has invented the time machine yet, okay? To say, right? All those wars of yesteryear, all those horrible events that happened within, you know, the United States or whatever nation you live in or wherever you live, right? Those things still happened. And those are the things that we are progressing through, okay? So again, instead of like the emperor has no clothes, I'm hearing more like the emperor has new clothes, because their emperor is actually dressing like an emperor type. But this is actually King of Wands here, so I'm just saying, like, you know, straighten up your crown a little bit. You know, don't be afraid to toot your own horn a little bit, even if it's just like silently to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they tell you when you're a little kid, if you want to give yourself a hug, right? Things of that nature, okay? So I feel like this is something for you guys to think about, okay? What you're going to hold on to and what you're going to let go. All right? And if you've not heard that phrase before, you know, give it 5 minutes to think about. If it's not going to matter, right? Don't worry about it. Okay? Like 5 years from now, are you going to care, you know, what your shoes look like down on the beach? No. No. All right. All right, I'm going to give you guys some romance angels because it is the weekend. If you don't know, this is the romance angels deck, okay? This deck was created by Doreen Virtue, FYI. I do have an unboxing video on this one as well, where I go through every single card. If you would like to, it is under the videos tab, okay? So let's see, in terms of romance, what the collective needs to know this weekend, especially around this King of Wands energy here. I'm very curious about that for you. Like I said, some of you could be this masculine energy. You could be a King of Wands type, okay? And also, Tin Can Sniper 007. I do not submit to mortals. I do only submit to the higher power, okay? So, again, if you would like to, you know, prophesize on whatever topic, please do start your own channel. I would really encourage that, because there's a lot of people out there that are listening, and a lot of people that do need messages of hope. So if that's something that you wish to embark on, I mean, really do it with love. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that is your breakthrough. Nobody's listening to me. I'm telling you guys these things. Aren't you listening to me? Okay? And that's when you're like, all right, fine. I am going to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it without being triggered about it. What do you think about that? Right? Right? Collective. This is also where some people say chosen. I would like to call it more like stepping into your gifting. Okay? You know, I feel like everybody is born with natural talents and abilities. Okay? It's up to us to develop them, to pursue them, right? For some of us, there's, you know, challenges around that. And then we've learned how to do things without, you know, all this other help, or what seemed like help at the time, right? It's like, oh, well, it seemed like I had this, you know, crew around me, right? It was kind of funny. Like at lunch today, I was sitting next to them. They were having a good time, like, but it was cute because they're like a little crew, you know, and you could just tell. But sometimes that crew, you know, it's like, do they have your back, right? Or are they just there for, you know, there for the good time type thing? Okay. So, thinking about maybe, you know, not what's good for everybody else, right? But what's good for you, the individual, right? That's okay to think about. You know, a lot of people want to say, oh, you're selfish. Oh, you're this. Why aren't you giving time to your food pantry? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you working here? Why aren't you da 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 da? Well, collective, I feel like it's because you, right, are listening to the messages that you need to get to where you need to go. All right? Heart-to-heart conversations. Look at that. So if you're not getting where you need to be, you might need to have that conversation, right? You can see how he's just like, it's like she's talking, I don't even want to listen to her, blah, 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 right? So for some of you, this King of Wands, you could be like, look, you know, I'm too well put together to listen to this, right? Listening to excuses. Well, all that money from you is because when I grew up, I didn't have anything and blah, blah, blah. Like, what? Like, how about when you were younger, you were supposed to learn the difference between right and wrong, and that's why you just don't steal from anybody, especially your loved ones or people who you allegedly love, right? So honestly discuss your feelings with each other, okay? This guy does not seem like he wants to tap into his emotions at all on this card. So collective, for more of you, this might be more of, again, like a lighthearted type energy. It's like, okay, here, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Somebody I was talking to online, and they're like, I'm under the covers tonight. You know, and it's like, all right, now, you know, I've never even met this person. I don't even know who this person is on the other side, right? Like, it could be a complete fake profile. And they're wanting me to say, you know, like dirty talk to them, right? So you can get a good night's rest. It's like, no. No. Okay. So, you know, he wanted to hear some sweet nothings, and I did not comply in that manner. And so I kind of like brushed off. I was like, I shouldn't even still be talking to this person, whatever. I kind of brushed off and said some other things, and he was like, well, I like to make love, not war. It's like, they're here, and you know, and they think you're just gonna like like, no, there's levels. There's levels to this stuff, right? So, you know, either way, whichever character you are on this card, it's like, okay, some kind of basic need is not being met. Some kind of basic understanding, level playing ground is not being met. You may be getting guided by the angels at this time regarding this manner. Yeah. Serious as a heart attack. Like, so sorry guys, some of this stuff is like difficult for me to talk about because I know how it sounds sometimes. So some of you could actually see like auras on people. That could be, you know, that message for you of understanding that this person, you know, is being guided by the angels to help you with this situation. Okay? Some of you also, I don't know if it's necessarily shadow people that I want to say, but it's kind of like when you see something and it's like you thought you saw somebody, and then it's like all of a sudden they're gone, and it's like, wait a second. So that happened last night. Like, obviously it was late. It was like after midnight when I got in last night, because I had to get a car at the airport and then drive here because there's no like airport into this town, you know. And as I was coming to the hotel, it was they weren't standing. It was like they were sitting and leaning, you know, almost like somebody, like, you know how somebody's just standing on the street kind of looking down at their phone, kind of like leaning back, kind of like that, you know, like leaning on the fence. And then when I went to turn in, it's like I look back and it's like, wait a second, there's nobody there, you know. So it's like, okay, it's dark, you know, it's after midnight, I'm tired. But that was my hotel. Then I was there. Okay. So, if you're worried about having that conversation with that person, you know, have that talk with your angels. with your guides, with an ancestor that you trust, okay? And that is going to help you, all right? So that when you are met, yeah, look at this, healing family issues, triggered, right? Well, I act this way because my parents were divorced. I act this way because they were an alcoholic, and that's why I don't like you drinking neither, right? Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. Okay? So, when we stop projecting our feelings of blame, right, towards our whoever raised us, brought us into this world, right? What do? We turn around and we project that onto all our little friends and associates and blah blah blah, right? If we're not healed, right? Even with the preachy stuff, right? I don't put that in my body and I don't do this and I don't, I get it, right? But at the same time, right, it's like, or are you just being triggered just to be triggered? So in this guiding angel, okay, both of my flights had turbulence also, but they landed quite safely. So to tell me we didn't have angelic help, I mean that's the message that I was getting. So I think it's well earned. So for those of you that it's like it's hard for you to alchemize, okay, maybe what happened, okay, just know that on the other side, so if this happens to be regarding somebody that's not around anymore for you, okay, that once we've crossed over, we have that next chance again, right, to come back and say, I need to fix something. Okay. And that may come in the form of angelic guidance. Okay. Because what if that person's not around anymore? And when we're in the afterlife and in heaven, we're supposed to be our best selves, right? Yeah. And that's part of how some of us can learn and understand healing. Okay? Forgiving and learning. It's like, and I'm telling you, you gotta watch out for readers, because some people will just tell you what you want to hear, right? Instead of the message. Okay. So as you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. Yes. So these angels helping to forgive and heal your heart, right? saying, yeah, because, you know, God's a busy person, right? If you believe God is a person, right? So, you know, there's many divine tools out there, including us humans, right? Um, you know, when I was at the grocery store earlier today, the lady in line by me, she was just in that good mood type. You know what I mean? Like I like your hair. You know, she was talking to somebody else. She was complimenting them. You know, saying I like your hair today, and you know what I mean? Just bringing some nice things, right? So, you know, experiencing the present moment. Okay, not saying um, well, I have to say this because blah blah and blah 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 and blah blah blah. Like, you know, she didn't need to tell a girl her life story just to compliment her on her hair. Okay, do you know what I'm getting at? Okay, so again, for some of you, especially if you've been healing vocal issues, you know, regarding your throat chakra. Um, you know, thinking, oh my God, what if I say something wrong, right? Like this morning at breakfast, the lady was looking for a juice cup or for coffee or whatever, you know, and I was like, oh gosh, I put my juice in the coffee cup. I'm just going wild down here in Florida, right? She kind of looked at me like, yeah, like who cares, you know? Yeah, or there's certain things that are said that, oh gosh, we wish we could take back, but getting the message out, all right, is the important part. So I'm not saying deny these things. I'm just saying understand when and how you can alchemize them. Okay. And part of that is cutting yourself loose. Okay. And allowing forgiveness. Okay. Forgive yourself for what you didn't understand or know or nobody fucking told you. Okay. Right? I mean, what? I was watching Maury Povich the other day, and it's got the father. Who's the father? You know? So, yeah, for some of you, you might have not had the best parental experience. Henry, these are the romance angels that I am using currently. If you want to see the tarot cards that I pulled, you will have to go back to the beginning of the reading once it is fully posted on the channel. Okay. So for those of you that did not have that, you know, idyllic experience, guess what? Nobody really did. Here's a little secret. Nobody really did. Okay. And you know, I'm able to travel and have fun and do these things. You know, some of these folks, uh, like like Elvis, everybody's heard of Elvis. He had to have an entourage. He had to travel in packs of people because he would get mobbed wherever he would go. It's like, do you really want to live like that? You know, so when you think that somebody else has it so much greater or so much better, or that's the time. That's the time to start alchemizing those little things and say, you know what? I didn't grow up with this, but I know how to appreciate it. Right? Or I'd never had this, but now I'm doing that. Wow, can you believe it? You know, it's yeah. It's that song When I Grow Up by Garbage. And we all grow at different rates, different times, for different reasons, right? Not all of us has the same growth challenges at the same time, right? Even in junior high and high school, y'all were taking different classes, aren't we? Yeah, we're not all in the same classes. Might be in the same grade, but that don't mean you have the same, are they taking algebra 2 or are they on, I'm just saying. There's certain pressures that people are going through that not everybody else can appreciate. Reconciliation. Someone from your past is returning to your life. Okay. So I believe this is a past, more like a love type situation here. Okay. It will give you something to consider as well. Whether you are ready to, you know what I mean? You ever been on a date with somebody and then it's like all you have are your exes and it's like, ugh, who wants to, why are we even talking about them? Right? Like, maybe reserve that for therapy. Don't talk about that on your date. Like, you might want to, you can bring it up. Like, yeah, I was married before we got divorced. But, that doesn't mean you need to do a deep dive on day one. Okay? You can start to cut that loose. Guess what? You're not the only person that's ever been divorced. You're not the only person who's ever been through single parenthood. You're not the only, it's a big world out there. It is a big world out there. Mm-hmm. Pisces, it's as big as the ocean. Pretty big. Right? 75% of the earth covered by the ocean waters. Again, if you missed my ocean video today, please do go to the post tab, and it is the latest video posted, and then it'll be the second to latest video posted after I repost this one. Okay, so hold tight, but not for too long that you can't get yourself out, right? Caught in a trap, can't walk out because I love you too much, baby. I feel like that's what this person can be feeling towards you right now. That's like, they're like, I'm kind of like into that kind of trap. You're the love trap, right? Trappings of love. Past life relationship. You have known each other before. Okay. So whoever this that wants to reconcile with, sorry to disappoint anybody out there that's like, no, I want a new person. Well, maybe that's just something you're reading, right? But for those of you that are connecting and resonating with this reading, yeah, it's like this is somebody you've already met. You may or may not have already dated them. It's just, kind of a matter of time. All right. So, collective, that is all I have for today. Please do enjoy the rest of the weekend. And until next time, bye-bye.